So it comes down to one final ball. Colby Lovegren has never won a youth bowling tournament. He has one ball to do it right here. He needs 9 or a strike. 8 would be a tie. 7's a loser. Ball game!
Prodigy Bowlers Tour Season 7, our first since moving to Kansas City, began in September in Olathe, Kansas, where Colby Lovegren laid down a marker, capturing the first Division I title of the new season. The KCO would take us to Gladstone, Missouri, and Lawrence, Kansas. We would see adults bowl with kids, and kids show off their remarkable skills on the lanes in locations all across the Kansas City area, from Leavenworth, Kansas to St. Joseph, Missouri, and Belton, Missouri. Names and faces at first unfamiliar to longtime Prodigy viewers would establish themselves as the new cast of talented young athletes on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and they would capture the hearts of Prodigy fans nationwide. Players like Antonio Miranda, Davis Best, Rhett Ryman, P.J. Dokalis, and Nolan Nash would join Colby Lovegren as the new headliners on this quirky YouTube series that showcases awesome young bowlers doing what they love best. Today, as the KCO season comes to a close back in Olathe, Kansas, where the season began in September, we'll watch the final Division I championship round of the season unfold and possibly see as someone makes a strong case to be named the best of the best this season. The race is close for PBAA Player of the Year. Who will get your vote? We'll tell you how to cast your ballot on today's episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. Prodigy Bowlers Tour welcomes you to episode 147, the 2023 Kansas City Open Invitational, Division I Championship Round. Today, the top 5 qualifiers will compete in a series of head-to-head matches where the winner will keep advancing as long as he keeps winning. In our opening match, the number 5 qualifier, Joshua Oldham of Excelsior Springs, Missouri, will face our number 4 qualifier, Gabriel Coleman of the Bowling Coleman family. The winner of that opening match will advance to meet our number 3 qualifier, Rhett Ryman, who's undefeated in his 2 appearances on Prodigy this season. That winner will meet our 2 seed, Bowlin' Nolan Nash, who'll try to win in his 3rd consecutive start on Prodigy. That winner will bowl for the championship against Caden White, who's making an 11th hour bid to get into the Prodigy Tournament of Champions. One of these 5 will write the final Division I signature on this year's coveted trophy pin. The KCO season ends where it began, at Olathe Lanes East in Olathe, Kansas, home of the best youth program in the greater Kansas City area, thanks to the tireless devotion to youth bowling of the center's youth director, Susan Lowe, and the center's general manager, Eric Maxwell. To be eligible to bowl in the season-ending KCO Invitational, a player must have bowled in a minimum of 5 KCO points tournaments throughout the season. Just like in the points tournaments, the field at the KCO Invitational is split into an A squad and a B squad, with both squads bowling a morning block of 3 games and then an afternoon block of 3 games before the field is cut to the top 5 in each of the 5 divisions for their respective stepladder finals. Division I is the scratch division, with bowlers who average 200 and higher, and that's the division we'll be watching today. So here's how the Division I qualifying round went down. After the 2 squads completed their morning block, it was Gabriel Coleman who was setting the pace. Full disclosure, I actually coached Gabriel a couple of weeks ago in the Sport Shot League at Olathe Lanes East, And he told me he's been working on what I'd talked to him about, so I'm glad it's helping. Right there with Gabriel on the leaderboard was Josh Oldham, with Caden White and Nolan Nash not far behind. Logan Feuer, the older brother of Lillian Feuer, who you've seen on both of our Division 5 shows this season, was lurking in 5th place. PJ Dokalis and Rhett Ryman were chasing from below the cut line. Way back in 11th, following a disappointing opening block, was Colby Lovegren, who set himself up to need a big afternoon block to get into the stepladder finals. Then, when the afternoon block was complete, a big move was made by Rhett Ryman, who jumped from 7th to 3rd to make the stepladder. Gabriel Coleman cooled off a bit, but maintained his spot inside the cut line at 4th. Caden White and Nolan Nash both moved up 2 spots to take over 1st and 2nd. And Joshua Oldham hung on to maintain a position in the stepladder at 5th. And Colby Lovegren, one of our 3 two-time winners on Prodigy this season, put on a furious charge from behind, but his 682 afternoon block came up just 4 pins short of a roll-off with Josh Oldham for the 5th spot, leaving Colby on the outside looking in as our alternate today. It's hard to believe, but today's broadcast marks the 1-year anniversary of our first Prodigy Bowlers Tour episode originating from the Kansas City area. I'm Coach Randy, and this is my hometown. The Prodigy 2.0 premiere came at the 2022 KCO Invitational, where we brought you the Division 1 championship round. The player who threw the very first ball on Prodigy Bowlers Tour in the Kansas City area, well, that was none other than Colby Lovegren. And Colby gets Prodigy 2.0 off and running with a bang. He won the first 2 matches that day. But then he ran into the number 2 qualifier, a high school senior named Michael Anderson II. Mike's smooth yet powerful style helped him get past Colby that day and into the championship match against a young man we would see a few times this season, tournament leader Davis Best. But the player who had his strike ball working that day 1 year ago was Mike Anderson, who claimed the title at last year's KCO Invitational. See you later. Michael Anderson, you have won the 2022 Kansas City Open Invitational. And it gives me great pleasure to tell you that we have a guest in the booth today. That same Mike Anderson, who's going to help me call the action on today's KCO Invitational, where he's the defending champion. Welcome, Mike, to Prodigy Bowlers Tour.
Thank you for having me, Randy. I'm really excited to be on here. A year ago, I was bowling in this, and it's great to be back up in the booth with a new perspective. And I'm excited. I get to watch these great bowlers. I bowl with a lot of them, and they're really, really talented, so it'll be a very fun day.
All right, well, it's time to get this party started as our contestants are ready to go in match 1. It's the 5 seed, Joshua Oldham, against our 4 seed, Gabriel Coleman. Gabriel was on the show last month in St. Joseph and had something of a rough outing, but he's been red hot all day today. Both he and Josh Oldham are aging out of youth bowling this summer, so this will be their last KCO. So I know they'd love to make a strong showing. Of course, they might return sometime in the future to bowl as the adult partner in one of the adult youth doubles tournaments, so there's always a chance we might see them again. But here we go with match 1. Gabriel had the choice of starting lanes, and he's elected to let Josh lead off. Doesn't quite come up, leaves the 2-4-5.
Yep, got the ball out to the drive maybe a little bit early. Then the ball ran out of energy, didn't turn the corner, leaving what I like to call the half bucket. Tough spare.
Here at Olathe Lanes East, this is the one place at the KCO Invitational all year where they not only run the lanes once in the morning, but they run them before the stepladder. All right, Josh covers the spare, the 2-4-5. So he's off and running.
Yeah, great pickup. That's a really tough spare. Many people tend to chop that, and a good start. Spare to start the game's the same as a 9 spare.
That's right. Usually you see the pros play that down the left side of the lane. A little less likely to chop it that way, but Josh covers it. Now Gabriel Coleman. Viewers of Prodigy saw him last month in St. Joseph finish 5th. And we've seen him do this all day. I mean, he led the morning block of qualifying in Division I, and he's been bowling as well today as I've seen him.
Yeah, and they reordered the lanes for the stepladder, so we're back on that fresh, and he gets to start how he started the day, which is different for the other KCOs where you're bowling on the burnt. And in Gabe's case, he's really happy that they reordered the day because had a big series the first 3, and he's lined up right back where he was.
Somewhat unorthodox style. I compared him to a player from the late 70s, early 80s named Joe Hutchinson. Got that unusual backswing where he kind of carries it almost sidearm to the top of the swing, but then he looks pretty normal coming down from the top. And he starts with a double.
Yeah, great start. Can't ask for a better start. He's thrown 2 great shots, both 10 back in the pit, putting a little pressure on Josh as the game gets started.
Gabriel says his best moment in bowling came when he shot 299. I forgot to ask him what he left, but he won't leave many hitting it there.
Right through the 8-pin, that's perfect.
Josh hits that half pocket, and the 6-pin refuses to play, lays down in the channel, and he leaves the 10.
Yeah, his first 2 shots have been a little bit lazy off the spot. They're not really getting up the hill. So the weak 10 there, and then the half bucket. Might see a ball change soon.
Yikes. An unforced error in the second, and can't have that.
No, you cannot. It's still early, but Josh definitely has created a hill to climb.
Mike, I know you bowled for Lindenwood in your first year in college. What did they talk about spares?
Spares are the most important game of bowling. The most important shot of the frame is the second one. It's not the first. So spares keep your game together.
Look out. Ay, ay, ay. Let that one get away. The 210.
Yeah, he made the ball change and then missed a little bit right, so it couldn't get back up.
Here's how you make the 210. Put the ball on the left side of the 2-pin, throw it over into the 10. He'll go for it. Going with a backup. Wow. Didn't see that coming.
No, I did not. A lot closer than I expected that to be. That's very impressive.
Well, it would have been more impressive if he'd made it, but that's back-to-back opens for Josh Oldham, and he's digging himself a hole early as Gabriel looks pretty dialed in. This young man, we commented on the show in St. Joe a month ago, he's very deliberate. He will take his time. Sometimes that can disorient the opponent. But you can't argue with the results.
No, you cannot. He has thrown 3 beautiful shots, keeping the ball in front of him with the urethane. He's not swinging it right, which the problem with Josh is having is his ball's not turning the corner, and Gabriel doesn't have to worry about that. He's keeping the ball in front of him, and as long as you hit your spot at the arrows, it's going to get through the pins like it has the first 3 frames.
Prodigy heads have been on me for years. What ball are they throwing? What ball are they throwing? And I never ask them, usually because I don't think of it, but I did happen to think of it on this particular day, and I happen to know that Gabriel is throwing a purple hammer. So there you go. It's a Prodigy first, a ball report.
And for this being a house shot tournament, it's quite rare that people are throwing urethane on a house shot, and especially with it working this well.
And especially when the oil is still fresh. Just a wee bit high, and he leaves the 4.
Yeah, just a little bit high. Ball got going a little bit early. It had been pushing a little bit more before, and that read a little bit earlier on the lane and went a little bit more through the face, left the 4-pin.
Looked like he may have laid it down in the dry a little bit. It started hooking early on him, but that urethane ball won't overreact, so it was only slightly high. That could have been a trip 4, but not to be this time. He'll go cross lane at it. This shouldn't be any problem at all. Routine spare. Just a bit outside. And Gabriel with an open, and he missed that by a country mile.
Probably would have hit the 5-pin on that shot.
Yeah. All right, well, Josh needed an opening to get back in, and now he needs to take advantage of that mistake. There you go. That's what he's looking for.
That shot, threw that shot a little bit farther left, kept that ball in the oil a little longer. It looked like he might have slowed down a little bit and let that ball turn the corner, and that ball got through the pins great compared to his other shots.
He's a talkative guy. Here it is again. Out to about 8 at the break point. And solid in the hole. I wasn't sure that one was going to quite get back. He didn't get it out very far to the right where the dry is, but it finishes nicely, and Josh has a double to get back in the match. Here's his footwork. 4-step approach, nice slide, foot perpendicular to the foul line over the 3rd arrow, out to about 8, and in that half pocket, and the 10 goes out this time. Gabriel wants to just try to put that mistake in the rear view mirror and get a little string of strikes going here. Boom.
10 back. Another beautiful shot. Had the little hiccup in the 4th, but other than that, he's thrown beautiful shots so far. Maybe a move left on that shot after that 4-pin, maybe a board, and it looks great going through the pins.
Another look at that shot, and you see that Gabriel doesn't quite have the ball right under his head. It's a little to the outside, leaving a gap between the ball and his ankle and his elbow and his torso. If he would stay behind the ball a little more, keep his elbow in close to his body, that ball would be right under his head. He would gain some leverage, and it would help improve his accuracy. Although, can't argue with the results of that shot. He's got 4 strikes in 5 frames. Yeah, that looked good right off his hand, didn't it?
Yes, I thought he might have got it right a little early, but like you said, that urethane adjusts for you a little bit. It's not going to come sharp off the spot, so it went smooth and got through and high pocket, high flush.
Here's Gabriel's footwork. He's a 5-step guy, and there you see that gap between the ball and the ankle. If he can get it a little closer, he'll have a little more leverage. But once again, high flush. Oh, the stone 7.
That's a killer. He got that one a little bit right, but you kind of expect those to carry, get a little bit of help. Tough break.
Watch the 2-pin. It's going to go to the left wall and turn around right in front of the 7. And I don't know how it missed it, but it did. Those are maddening, especially when you're trying to get back in a match.
Yes, they are. You make 2 great shots and you hope you can get a little break, and you don't.
But he covers the spare with no problem. But he's still got a mountain to climb, trailing by 32.
Yeah, he's got some work to do, but he's got a good line. He's got a good shot going. He just has to make a couple good shots in a row, string a couple strikes, and he should be all right. He's threw a really good shot on this left lane. when he was up in the 5th.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
The bowling gods gave him his break.
I thought he'd thrown that one in the river.
Out the window.
Look at this. That ball is on the 2 board at the 37-foot mark. And he just ticks the head pin. And what does the ball do going through? It just barely gets the 5, which gets paralyzed, and who knows what gets the 7. But it certainly took its sweet time to fall, but fall it did, and he is a happy camper. Let's watch his reaction to it this time. Love Josh's straight arm swing. He can't believe it's out there. This can't be good.
Josh is a theater and dance guy. He's showing some of his dance moves.
Looks like something poked it out of the pit there.
He'll take it. Gabriel says, I've had about enough of that, thanks.
Gabe still locked in. That shot, he didn't start as far left as he did on the left line. He threw it a bit right on the left line. That one, he seems like he was more behind the ball, kept it in front of him.
Down they go.
Down they go.
He is deliberate, I guess would be the nice way of saying it. Sloth-like, perhaps. But, hey, I learned from Jack Nicklaus in golf, don't hit the shot until you're ready. In bowling, don't throw the shot until you're ready. There's no shot clock at the KCO. The wall shot doesn't quite get the 7.
Yeah, we might be seeing some transition here. The urethane tends to push some oil down the lane. It takes away some of that back end, and it seems like Gabriel might be running into a little bit of that.
Well, he went 3 strikes open. Now he's got 3 strikes and another 9 count. See if he can do a little better on this spare attempt. Fortunately, he's got pins to burn with a 41-pin lead, but you don't want to start backing up. He made sure that time. That ball never moved. That was like a frozen rope to the 7-pin.
Yes, and he throws straight at his spares, which on the house shot is not as common. A lot of people like to hook at their spares.
Especially the left side spares.
Exactly.
All right, Josh would love to get a double here. And he does.
He didn't look like he liked that one very much off of his hand.
No,
Lane
it really
gave him a little
didn't.
bit of help.
Really didn't, but and he's talking about it. I mean, he will let you know what he's thinking. Watch this again. Looked like he sent this out a little wider. Okay, look at this. That ball is right under his head. It's close to his ankle. That's what you like to see. Like to see his hand a little more behind the ball, but has a nice finish on it. See if he can get another one. Pulled it. Pulled it in the oil, and it never quite found the friction until it was too late. 10-pin.
Yeah, ball didn't get going and deflected. And left the 10-pin. Got to cover this one, though. This is big.
Yeah, you can't really expect to have much of a chance if you open here. You know he was thinking about that 10-pin he missed earlier in the match, but Gabriel now with a 32-pin lead. The best Josh can do is 204. Gabriel is going at a 226 pace, so he really just needs a couple of marks here. Really, one mark might get it done.
striking this shot, and he's pretty set.
The action to our right on lanes 9 and 10, that's Division 3. And we will tell you all about how their stepladder played out after we talk to our winner today at the end of the show. Crunch berries.
10 back again. That's the shot you want in the 9th frame. Sets him up in the 10th. Pretty much just needs a mark at this point.
I don't think he even needs a mark. I think
needs count.
Stay behind the foul line, get good count, and he can sleepwalk this thing the rest of the way. This is as good as I've seen Gabriel Coleman bowl all year.
He's throwing great shots the whole game. The two, the open in the 4th and the spare in the 8th were good shots. They're single pin leaves. Other than that, it's been 10 back.
One of the things I like most about both of these players' games is they always finish in good balance. You very rarely see either one of them fall off balance at the line.
Posting shots is very, very important.
That'll do it. That will give Gabriel the win in this opening match. And so he will just go through the routine of finishing out the game, but he can start thinking about the next match.
Yes, and if I'm Gabriel, I'm using that shot right there. That shot kind of died a little bit at the end. And he's won this match, but you're now bowling on the same pair in the next match, and you want to prepare a little bit for the moves you're going to make to start the next game. And I'd use that one to move off of.
He'll go cross lane at the 10. Uh-oh. Well, so much for any practice balls on the fill shot. That's a 214. And the two of them kibitz a bit before Josh steps up to finish out his game. This will be Josh's final KCO as he's aging out this summer, and talked to him before the game began, and he said, I got some friends I might bowl with as an adult in the adult youth doubles tournaments in the future, so we might see him again.
Yes, and he's collegially bowling at Avila in Kansas City.
Correct. Yep.
He's continuing to bowl.
Well, another 10 pin, but all is academic at this point. He will cover this for a 194 and pursue his dreams of becoming a pro bowler in the future, as we see the number 3 seed Rhett Ryman step into the picture there to bring his bowling ball in and set it on the rack. Little backup action for the 10. He covers it. He might have used that one back in the 2nd frame when he missed that 10 pin, but it's Gabriel Coleman who takes match 1, and now he will face one of our 2-time winners this year, Rhett Ryman, coming up. Unfortunately for Joshua Oldham, he bowled his 2nd lowest game of the day in the most important match he bowled all day, the one in the stepladder finals. But Josh had a good day on the lanes today, and as he ages out of youth bowling this summer, he can look back at his career at the Kansas City Open and know that he not only bowled great, but more importantly, made a lot of friends along the way. This is a very likable guy, and I know all of Prodigy Land wishes him the very best at college this fall and in his future endeavors. And you never know, he might come bowl the KCO as an adult partner of one of our youth bowlers at one of the adult youth doubles tournaments next year. But right now, Gabriel Coleman is the young man in the spotlight, as he has earned the right to advance to match 2, where now he'll face the first of two-time winners in our field today. Rhett Ryman was the first player to become a multiple winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour here in the Kansas City area when he captured the December Adult Youth Doubles event and then won in Lawrence in January. Rhett looks focused and confident, and I have a feeling Gabriel may need more than another 214 if he wants to keep climbing the stepladder.
These two actually have almost a 20-pin differential in average. Rhett is averaging 220 at the KCO. Gabriel 200, although Gabriel's league average is about 210. Rhett, the higher qualifier, had the choice of starting lanes, and he has elected to let Gabriel start the match. I think Rhett wants to finish first on the left lane. And Gabriel just picks up where he left off. Another rocket to the pocket.
That shot, I don't know if it was an accident, but it seems it was a bit left. He looks like he moved inside, might have gotten out of that dry. We're starting to hook a little bit earlier in that first match. Probably about 3 to 4 boards left of where he was in match 1. Still going through the pins great, though.
Well, the thing about it is, when you're bowling on the house shot, you know you've got 2 or 3 boards you can hit. And if you're standing in the right spot and you're aiming at the right spot, you should get the full benefit of that miss area. If you're not playing the lanes properly, you may not have any miss area. Rhett Ryman, who has won both times he's appeared on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, both times from the #1 position. This is a solid start to his match.
A lot of rev rate, a lot of speed, and that's what it does to the pins right there. He's going to get a lot of carry in this match.
The rest of these players we're going to see today, Rhett and then Nolan and Caden in the #1 position, all two-handers, all with the big rev rate, all with a lot of speed. We're going to see this over and over today. Rhett, the youngest of the group, at just 15. Rips the rack, and stand back or you might get hit by the shrapnel.
There's that carry we talked about. A little bit lighter of hit, threw that shot a little farther right, and it doesn't matter. If that ball hits the pocket, it's going to carry a lot of the time.
That 5-pin just whistles over into the 7, and see you later, pins. Gabriel might want to think about it a little bit. He's going to need his best to get past Rhett Ryman, I have a feeling.
Yeah, Rhett looks like he's locked in. 2 great shots to start off the match.
That was a pretty good ball there, just a pinch high.
It was a good ball. That one looked like it may have been a tad slower, or the ball slowing down a little bit, hooking a little early. Like that shot we saw him throw in the first match. A little bit high flush, didn't get the 4 out.
That girl you just saw throw a shot over on lane 9, that's Colby Lovegren's younger sister, Avery, who I really thought we would get on the show sooner or later this year. And you're going to get a little glimpse of her in the periphery, but that's Division 3 on 9 and 10. We'll recap their stepladder when we get to the end of the show. Gabriel, who missed a 4-pin in the opening match, I imagine he will take extra care on this one. Don't hurt him. That's why they paint those pins, you know.
I guess he's friends with the 4-pin. He didn't want to offend him or anything.
Whatever it takes. It's not how, it's how many. Gabriel says his favorite pro bowler is A.J. Johnson.
AJ also pulls down and rips it real hard at the bottom like Gabe does. A little bit similar in that part of their game. AJ throws it hard.
Gabriel showed me a video a couple of weeks ago of him bowling a few years ago. He had hair way past his shoulders. And there's a ripper for you. Wow. A powerful strike.
Powerful. That one a little farther left. You can see the urethane carry down is starting to come into play. Didn't really turn the corner as much, but still got all of them down.
Had plenty on it. Watch this little half pocket action. Everything just goes left. Right into the 7. So now Rhett Ryman will try to make it a turkey out of the gate. Ooh, a little high. Averting disaster as the 9 goes out.
Almost the 4.79. Got this ball a little early outside.
He's got that ball right under his head where we like it. It could be a little closer to his ankle. But now watch this. He's up on his toe, and that foot is pointing to the right. When Rhett gets into trouble, it's when he gets a little fast. He gets up on his toes like that, spins out, doesn't have all the leverage he could have, and he also sacrifices a little bit of accuracy when he does that. Want to keep that heel on the ground of your slide foot, and keep your slide foot or your plant foot, whatever you do, pointed at the pins, not off to the right.
Yeah, there are some different mechanics between one-handed and two-handed bowling, but that's a constant between both. You want to stay square.
Yeah, when you get that slide foot or plant foot pointing to the right like that, throws your hips out of alignment, and your body is just contorted at the foul line, and you don't get all the leverage you can have. But you also sacrifice a lot of accuracy. Well, he pulled that one, and it stayed in the oil and just skidded down the lane too far and never quite recovered. So there you have the 2-pin.
Yep, missed left on that one, and with his speed, when you throw it in the oil like that, you're not giving it much time to get going. And he 2-pin, very light shot, but got away with it. Didn't leave the 210, so just the 2-pin, so it should be a pretty easy spare.
I would never expect Rhett to have any problem with any single pin spare, probably least of all the 2-pin. And he covers it with ease. Well, Rhett says he wants to be an engineer when he grows up, although he kind of put in parentheses on our questionnaire, undecided. So I think he's leaving his options open.
Very young, very young. He's got some time.
He's 15, which means that these youth bowlers on the KCO and on Prodigy Bowlers Tour are going to have him to contend with for a few more years. We're going to see a lot of Rhett Ryman on Prodigy.
Yes, we are.
All right, Gabriel with a chance to double to take the lead. Oh, another one that was nearly a 4-9, but the 9 goes out late, and he thanks his lucky stars.
4-9s are scary, and we've had 2 of them almost left here today. Got that ball out right, quite early actually on that shot. Again, the urethane's a little bit lazier, but that shot about halfway down the lane was going to go high.
Would you say that if he'd been throwing reactive on that line, getting it out to the right, it might have left something even worse?
Probably big 4. That would have went much more through the face if he was throwing reactive on that. Urethane, especially at this point in the day when he's pushed down some oil, tends to die a little bit in the back end when you get it out there and hook so early. So you leave a lot of single pins, but you have to be very accurate in what you're doing.
Well, he's been less than very accurate shooting 4 pins today. He missed one and almost missed another. But he gets that one right on the face, no problem.
Had a lot of practice.
Well, Gabriel, we've joked about it. He's from the Bowling Coleman family. There's Grace Coleman, and she won in Division 4 on Prodigy back in April when we were in Leavenworth. And Andrew Coleman, who was on the adult youth doubles event in Belton back in March. And Bailey Coleman, who was on the adult youth doubles tournament here in Olathe back in December. When Grace won in April, she challenged Gabriel. Gabriel's the only one who hadn't yet made it on Prodigy, and he made the next show in May, and here he is again in June trying to win one. But that one doesn't get up. Now, we talked about the half bucket earlier. This time he gets the full dinner bucket with a couple of pieces of chicken in there too.
Yeah, another tough spare. That first shot, the urethane seems to be getting to him. He throws it right, it hooks early, and it goes through the face. He throws it left, can't get through, and hook early in the oil, and there's too much oil back down lane where the ball is still not turning the corner, and he leaves the bucket there. Should probably ball change. He's only got about a board to throw it at right now, which is really, really tough no matter how good you are.
That's right. But that is a beautiful cover of the 2-4-5-8.
That's how you draw it up.
Tell you what, Rhett has been really staying to himself throughout this match. I've never seen Rhett Ryman more focused than he's appeared thus far. He's not talking to anybody. Usually when he's seated between shots, he'll at least make eye contact with others around him. But he's just staying to himself right now. That's probably a pretty good sign. Pulled that one. Oh, but it doesn't matter. Wow.
Multiple messengers. I don't know what hit the 10 pin on that shot. Pulled it a little left, you're right. But he's got the rev right. It's going to get up and hit the pocket. And when it hits the pocket, it's going to explode.
Well, that was crazy. That looked like it was going to be the 5-7-10, the Lily. But watch this. Very light in the pocket. The 5's still there. It starts to move late. I don't know what got the 7, and then I guess that had to be the head pin that comes back and gets the 10, but holy moly. That was entertaining.
Yes, it was. Crazy carry. Two-handed carry.
A more traditional power strike, the blower. Watch this. We'll see it in split screen. We'll see the pin action, and we'll see Rhett's reaction. That 5 pin will head over to the 7, and he liked it.
Yes, he did. He liked that one off his hand, you could tell. He got that one a little bit farther right, out in the dry, so it gave him more time to turn the corner. A lot less light than the shot on the right lane.
All right, I think Gabriel now knows he's got a tiger by the tail. Trailing by 21, working on a spare. He would love to get a couple of strikes while he's up this time to try to cut into that lead a little. There's one.
That was a great shot. After the shots he'd previously thrown, that one got through the pins good. At this stage in the day, that's a very good shot.
See it again here, that unusual backswing, but he comes through it nicely. Playing a little down and in shot with that urethane ball, and 10 back. And now he will think about it. You see some action to our left down on 3 and 4. That's the practice pair. And the players who are waiting to go bowl in their step ladder, whether they are in Division 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. They're all down there practicing together. Did you like to throw a lot of balls when you were waiting to bowl, or just...
When I was younger, I went there a lot, but my grandpa told me to stop.
Your grandpa, Mike Anderson the first, we see him every Saturday at Olathe Lanes East watching your little brother, Joe Anderson, who's been on Prodigy once. This is Gabriel's last strike. Slapping out that 10 like a boss. Yeah, Mike actually appeared on Prodigy as well. We saw what kind of skills he's got.
It's been a while, but yes.
The Bowling Andersons. Rhett Ryman looks like he may be in dead stroke. 5 out of 7 strikes so far. Watch this one. Another one in good balance at the line. Honestly, you're not going to find many really good bowlers who aren't in good balance at the line.
Exactly. That one, it looked as though he might have made a hair move to his right. He came up a little bit light on the pass two, and that one was a little more forward going through the pins. But yes, his balance at the line is very, very good. Very important. Accuracy is the biggest thing, and posting shots translates to that the most.
And another ripper.
He's been smacking those corner pins out all game.
All right. Rhett is a 4-step guy, a planter, not a slider. Over about the 3rd arrow, out to about 7 at the break point, and 7-pin had no chance. Gabriel, you got your work cut out for you, son.
Needs both of these.
If he can get them both, he'll be right back in it. Trailing by 31 at the moment, he can cut the lead to 11 with 2 strikes in this turn. But if he doesn't strike, he's going to be in a world of hurt. We're getting late. Look out. Oh, I did not think that was coming back.
I did not either. He got that thing way out there. He got back, though, and smacked that 7 out.
When I used to play golf all the time, I'd hit one way over there. People would say, yeah, he just hit one where the elephants go to die. I thought this one was in the moat, and here it comes.
After a couple of his shots early on in the match, didn't get up the hill. Very surprised that that one came back from board 3.
Obviously, he caught it all at the bottom. And as a player, you know when you let it go. This is coming back.
Yes, exactly. You know when you hit it harder. You know if you miss left and you didn't give it as much, you know it's going to lay there.
Even if we observers don't know. He probably knew. That's good. Hold that one. And it just hooked enough at the end to just be a little too high. 4-pin.
Yep, that's a killer. He's going to want that shot back. 9th frame, big frame. And just missed by a couple boards left, and a little high, leave the 4-pin again.
Now he's pretty much left the door wide open for Rhett to just step up and win the match. Well, that pesky 4-pin back again for a return engagement. But he gets it easily.
Much better 4-pin shooting this game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I noticed he took off, started his approach just as Peyton Tryon, the kid we saw on lane 9, the lefty who we saw last month in St. Joe, he started as well. Did it bother you when somebody on an adjacent pair would start walking toward the foul line at the same moment you did?
I didn't mind it as much I mean, of course, as long as it's not the lane next to you.
Sure.
If it's a lane over, it didn't bother me as much. Some players, that's very big for them.
I know on the PBA, they give a full pair courtesy on either side, and I got to where it would drive me nuts when somebody was on the adjacent pair going when I was going. But here's Rhett back up on his toes again, but this is a good finish. A happy ending on that strike.
Split the 8-9, both the 8 and 9 falling straight back into the pit. Beautiful shot.
And now he's just got to stay upright and behind the foul line and get good count, and he can put this one in the win column and get ready for what could be the match of the year coming up. Good night.
Stuffed it.
Rhett Ryman wins match 2 with that one, and we'll take another look at the shutout ball right here. Not much doubt about this one. 10 in the pit. I like this guy's game.
Very, very smooth. His game has changed quite a bit. I've known Rhett for about 2 years, and he's grown a lot. And as we all know, your game changes quite a bit when you grow. And before, he was very deliberate and accurate. And now his rev rate has gotten up in his speed. And he rips the rack like that.
Kind of fell off balance that time. I think maybe he might have stuck at the line or slipped. Not sure which, but he looked down at his feet after he let that one go. Here is a 3-up look at some of his recent shots in the 6th, 8th, and 10th frames. They all look pretty similar to me, but we can tell just how similar they are when we lay them all on top of one another in our exclusive 3-deep look. And you see the one where he stepped off to the right, a little off balance at the line. Almost never see Rhett off balance, but 3 good shots and 3 good results. And one more for good measure. That's a 267. That's got to be one of the highest scores we've had on Prodigy since we moved to Kansas City.
Great performance. The 3rd and the 4th frame slipped up a little bit, but got right back on the train and finished very, very strong.
So Gabriel's final appearance in a KCO will be remembered by him as a successful one. A 4th place finish. That's his best finish of the season, topping the one he had last month in St. Joe when he finished 5th. He's got to be happy with the way he bowled today. And when you get beat by a 267, you know, you can't really feel all that bad. I mean, he didn't bowl badly this game. He's going to be in the 2 teens, it looks like.
Yeah, not at all. And a lot of the shots where he didn't strike were tough 4-pins.
Yeah.
And there's not much to complain about. A guy shoots 267 across from you. There's not much you can do. You just got to shake his hand, say good job, and take your game.
He will go cross lane at the 10. And covers it. And I always admire these kids when they actually give it all they got on these shots at the end of the match, even though they don't mean anything. The match is already in Rhett's win column. But Gabriel, not giving a pin away, will just finish it out and show respect to the sport of bowling. So he shot 214 the first game. And I think I said at the beginning of this match, he may need more than 214 if he wants to get past Rhett Ryman.
Needed about 55 more than 214.
Yeah. And there it is, back-to-back 214s. I think in Junior League you get a patch for that. At least you used to, but it's Rhett Ryman who's moving on to match 3. And look at this, 2 of our 2-time winners this year on Prodigy are going to go at it.
Hey, Prodigy Land, it's me, Coach Randy. I just wanted to invite you to watch another podcast that I was on recently, right here on YouTube. It's called Bowling with the Pfeff, and it's hosted by a former TV news anchor, Andrew Pfeffer, up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. He loves bowling like you and I do, and I think you'll really enjoy his interviews, especially the ones he did with Randy Peterson and Norm Duke, and the one he did with me. The one that I'm on is titled The Eyes Have It, and the thumbnail is pretty easy to spot because it has a picture of my ugly mug. So go check it out on youtube.com/@bowlingwiththepfeff and tell your friends about it. He should have more subscribers than he does, and Prodigy Nation, you're just the people to help him get there. It's youtube.com/@bowlingwiththepfeff. Look for the episode with me on it. There's some really amazing moments on the show. All right, let's get back to the KCO Invitational. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you that Gabriel Coleman would need more than another 214 against Rhett Ryman if he wanted to continue climbing the stepladder. I did not expect that Gabriel would actually bowl another 214, but sure enough, it wasn't enough, as Rhett was pretty dialed in. This was Gabriel Coleman's final Kansas City Open, as he is aging out of youth bowling this summer. But at least he's going out on a high. These past 2 months, 5th last month in St. Joseph and 4th today at the KCO Invitational, are his 2 best finishes of the season by far. So he should be proud of how he competed. But now we turn our attention to Rhett Ryman, who advances to match 3 to face Nolan Nash. Rhett was the first player to become a 2-time winner on Prodigy this season, and Nolan became the second. One would think that Rhett and Nolan, along with Colby Lovegren, the 3rd player with 2 wins on Prodigy this season, would be the 3 players with the inside track to the PBAA Player of the Year award. Of course, had PJ Dokalis won today, he could have become the 4th 2-time winner on the season and really muddied the water, making it an even closer race. But Colby and PJ are watching while Rhett and Nolan will duke it out in what has to be the match of the year. If one of them becomes the only 3-time winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour today, how could the vote go to anyone else? Of course, you can vote for your choice for PBAA Player of the Year by writing the name of the player you think is most deserving in the subject line of an email and send it to vote@prodigybowlerstour.com. We'll announce the winner at the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions later this month. And both of these players will be there. Nolan Nash, higher qualifier, has elected to start the match. And he starts it with authority with a big-time strike.
Nolan, we talked about Rhett Ryman with the speed and the rev rate. Nolan's got even more of it, and we'll see him tossing pins around all match. Good balance at the line, and this ball just rips through the pins. 10 back in the pit.
The bowling pin must weigh between 3 pounds 6 ounces and 3 pounds 10 ounces, and I believe that ball would have knocked down 5-pounders. Oh! Hello, messenger.
My grandpa says that his messengers are blind. And Rhett's are not. Rhett's can definitely see.
This is a good one. Watch the head pin. It will go to the left wall and blasts out the 10. And we're off and running.
Pretty much what we expected with these two. This could turn into a strike-a-palooza. Nothing but two-handers the rest of the way.
New generation.
And that one didn't quite get back. A little light shaker 4-pin.
Might have missed that one at the bottom. The spot didn't look too off from his previous shots. So I might have missed that one at the bottom a little bit. Didn't get up all the way. And another 4-pin that we see today.
Don't see light 4-pins all that often, but stick around this game long enough, you'll see everything. Rhett's a real good spare shooter. Hooks it a little bit more at left side spares than I thought he might. I figured he might go with a spare ball for that, but it's a spare nonetheless. And now Nolan moves over to the right lane. Each player who comes on to the TV pair gets 2 practice balls on each lane before their match starts. Boom.
Left him spinning. He fell off that shot a little bit.
Little.
Didn't seem to matter though.
Only takes about 12 feet of the approach. 4 steps. Kicks that trail leg up high. And as you said, leaves him spinning. When Nolan is on, good luck. Actually, I could say the same thing of Rhett and our tournament leader today, Caden White. Oh, he wasn't sure about that one when he let it go.
He got that one a little right. And maybe even a little fast, but got back up. You're going to see a lot of those light shakers with these high rev rates and speed.
Little wall shot action. I think we're going to see his reaction now. He's begging for it to get up, and it did. He is into it today.
Yes, he is.
Rhett Ryman, who finished second at the Kansas Pepsi tournament in April. Only 2 appearances on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this year, and he won both of them from the #1 position. Oh, it looked like he pulled that one just a little bit. Leaves the 9.
Yep, pulled it a little bit. It's still a tough break.
I think we're going to see how you leave a 9-pin. We will see this in super slow motion. The ball's going to come in just a little bit high in the pocket. See how it favors the head pin slightly? Then this horizontal pin stuck between the ball and the 5-pin, that's the head pin. And incredibly, it's going to go in front of the 9 and miss it as the ball chops the 5 off the 9. It's unusual pin action and maddening as can be if you're the player, but that's how it happens. That's a spare.
Yeah, if you're Rhett, you just gotta, it's good that he's picked the 2, just gotta keep clean. He's thrown 3 good shots, had 2, the 4-pin was a little light, but still 2 tough breaks. You just gotta stay on it, make a move if you need to make a move. He just went high flush. Just gotta throw a good one in the 4th.
One thing about Rhett is he will not throw in the towel. There's no give up to this guy. He gets the light shaker to go. Now if he can string a couple more behind it, he might find himself right back in this. take another look at it. Over about 13 at the arrows, out to about 7. Down they go.
Nolan trying to stay locked in. Done 3 good ones to start the match. See if he can keep his lead here.
Nolan has won his last 2 starts at the KCO in March and April. Throw enough of those, he might make it 3 in a row.
Beautiful shot. Posted it. Aced it through the pins.
Here's a side-by-side look at these two-handers. Both of them 4-step deliveries, synced up at their release point. If there is one thing about two-handed bowlers that I'm not in love with, it's that very few of them are able to keep their head super steady through the release. You see a lot of jerking around to the head. You saw Nolan's hair flying everywhere. That is the one drawback to two-handed, and maybe the only drawback to two-handed. Oh, yikes. Well, that one was way out there. Now he's paying the price. A light 410. Not something you see every day, but we saw a light 4-pin earlier. Here's how you make the 410. And I mean to tell you, it's been years since we've seen anybody make one of these wide open splits on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. We are so overdue. Oh, what a shot!
Incredible shot. He hooked at it, which was a surprise to me. If you want to shoot that spare most of the time, you shoot it straight up that left gutter. And he hooks at it, and he's got to be perfect with this shot because you just barely got to nick the 4-pin. And he does it. He throws a little bit slower and hits it really hard, and it just turns left.
That ball is on 12 at the 43-foot mark, and now it's all the way over to slide the 4 into the 10. A phenomenal shot. And I think we'll see his reaction here. You know, the funny thing is, when he was warming up earlier, he left the Greek church, and I walked over to him. I said, you know, I would never tell somebody to do this during a match. But since you're just warming up, I've always said, if you're going to try to make the Greek church, go for the 2 on the left, the 4-7. He did, and he made the 4-7-6-9. The 4 got the 9 and then bounced forward into the 6, but it didn't. It ran out of juice before it got the 10. I think it surprised him, but I've made it a couple of times that way, and I really think that's the way to shoot it. And then he gets up and makes the 4-10. Rhett with a solid strike, put a double on the board in the 5th, and he could use another one here and cut Nolan's lead to just 9. There you go. That's exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, I got it right early and told it to lay there, and it did. Thought it might get a little jumpy, but it didn't. You can tell he throws it out there, and he's like, whoa, stay there, stay there, stay there, and it did.
How do you get a bowling ball to listen to you? I never mastered that trick.
A lot of quality time.
He was talking to it. Little gesturing with the right hand there. Now Nolan back up on the right lane. Oh, this time something gets in the way of the messenger, and he leaves the 10, and 9 and a wiggle is all you're gonna get, Nolan Nash.
Another light hit. A better shot thrown. Didn't miss his far right. Just didn't get up. Maybe a little fast. Maybe missed it at the bottom.
But he covers the spare with ease. Maintains an 8-pin lead. But now Rhett with a double up is in position to move out ahead when he gets up in the 7th frame. Nolan better mind his P's and Q's here. Brett Ryman is not going to wait for him. There's another light shaker. And I don't know how he gets those pins on the left side to cave in like that, but he does. Here's his footwork once again. 4-step approach, little tiny first step, little hop step. And look at that, that ball right next to the ankle and his hand under the ball and behind it. That's where the power lives. That's what makes those pins dance.
Exactly.
You see a lot of players get around the ball. That's not how you generate power.
There you go. That's how you generate power. Brett's got that same kind of release. You want your fingers behind the ball, below the equator of the ball. In fact, the lower, the better under the ball, and then just roll it off your fingers. That's what gives the bowling ball that, what we used to call heavy roll that penetrates through the pins.
Exactly. That's how you get those corner pins out.
Absolutely.
These guys get away with some of those shots that they might hit light because of their rev rate and their speed, but a lot of the time, if you miss it, you're still not going to get the corner pins out.
Looks to me like he's moved left a little bit. He stuffed him straight back.
Yeah, on that right lane, his laydown spot is a little farther left than the left lane.
See how that ball's right next to his ankle? Foot in pretty good position there. He spun out a little bit, but not until after the ball was gone. That doesn't bother me so much. A couple of the earlier players, Josh and Gabriel, both told me this right lane is really hooking. Boom.
Nolan makes his move on that right lane and 10 back.
And with that, he cuts Rhett's lead down to just 2 pins and can retake the lead with a strike in the 9th. We'll look at that 8-frame strike once again. Perfect balance at the line. He holds his follow through. And down they go.
Pushes the 8 straight back. This shot's big for Nolan here. Getting 1 in the 9th. Set him up for the 10th would be big.
It looked like that one got a little wider than he wanted it to. And it just labored and didn't quite kick out the 10.
Yeah, he didn't give it enough time. Got it out right a little bit. His angles have been pretty closed for the most part for this match, and he opened him up a little bit there. And it's tough to get the corner pins out like that.
But he covers it easily. Nolan, another spectacular spare shooter, as evidenced by his conversion of the 410 earlier this match. There's got to be a rule somewhere in bowling that you're not supposed to lose a match where you make a big wide open split like that, isn't there?
I think we might have to do some checking. I would love to find that rule. I might have to use that later.
Rhett's like, I don't know. I like things just the way they are, thanks.
He's hiding the rule book from us.
This is a big shot right here. He can put a little distance between himself and Nolan with a strike in the 9th. Oh, man, we've seen some near 4-9s today. This one knocks out the 4 very late, and you could almost tell by his body language that he knew it as soon as it left his hand that this was trouble.
Yeah, you could tell that one he thought was going to go high. Lucky he got out of that 4-9. Normally you're tripping out the 9 in that shot, and he tripped out the 4. Very lucky break.
He will take extra care on this one. Spare. So, we knew this would be a good match. 2 of the 3 two-time winners on Prodigy this season, locking horns in the semifinal match at the KCO Invitational for the right to bowl for the championship against tournament leader Caden White. And here we are, both players working on a spare. Rhett Ryman with a 2-pin lead. Doesn't get any better than this.
No, and it's interesting Nolan chose to finish the match. A lot of guys with the choice will put the pressure on the other bowler. Nolan decides to finish it himself.
Oh, no!
The big four. We used to call this double pinochle. It's double trouble for Rhett. If he doesn't pull off a miracle here, he's going to open up a clear path to victory for Nolan. Ooh!
Almost picks it.
He went for it boldly, didn't miss by much. But now, Nolan Nash just needs to stay behind the foul line and get good count.
Tough break for Rhett.
Nolan needs 8 pins on his first ball in the 10th to get past Rhett Ryman and bowl for the championship against Caden White. Money! Well, scholarship money anyway.
Aced it. Perfect shot. Took advantage of the break that he got and closed it out.
I know Rhett is kicking himself. He makes one bad shot and pays the price. Nolan, right in the hole, kicks out the 10. Gotta love it. And now he can just take a victory lap. Well, we've seen him do that a few times. Pins flying everywhere.
Another messenger.
Tie down the furniture. Actually, I think that 6-pin got the 10, but just in case it didn't, the messenger was coming.
He was on its way, if needed.
Possible 246 with another strike. That's pretty juicy. Boom. And even Rhett Ryman could only applaud that. But it is Nolan Nash who is moving on to the championship match.
And standing between him and his 3rd title on Prodigy this season is his best friend, Caden White. Rhett Ryman and Nolan Nash produced the kind of high-scoring, back-and-forth match that we expected. 15 strikes between the two of them. But in the end, it was one catastrophic shot in the 10th frame that spelled disaster for Rhett when he went through the nose and left the big four, leaving Nolan a clear path to victory. But Rhett had a spectacular season at the KCO, winning back-to-back in December and January. And I have a feeling he'll be back in the fall better and stronger than ever. Meanwhile, Nolan Nash, one of 3 two-time winners this season on Prodigy, now finds himself one match away from becoming the only 3-time winner this season. But standing between Nolan and that achievement is his best friend, Caden White. Caden should already be qualified for the Prodigy Tournament of Champions, but through no fault of his own, he isn't. That's because even though he won the Division I championship in February, which we surely would have covered on Prodigy, that was the one tournament this year that I was unable to film the show because I was in the hospital recovering from injuries I sustained in my head-on car collision just a few days earlier. It doesn't seem right that Caden should have to win twice in Division I just to punch his ticket to the Prodigy TOC when all the other qualifiers only had to win once to get in. But Caden seems unfazed by the challenge and looks ready to take advantage of this opportunity at the 11th hour and deny his best friend Nolan his 3rd title of the season.
Caden, with the higher qualifying position, has chosen to finish first. He's going to let his best friend Nolan lead off. And Nolan comes up a little thin on the opening toss and leaves a tricky spare, the 2-8.
That first shot off the bench, he's been sitting for a little bit. Caden's had some time to practice. Nolan hasn't thrown a shot in about 10 to 15 minutes. That first shot back can get you sometimes, and it did right there with a 2-8, which is a tough spare. You got to be very accurate on this spare.
As long as you're throwing a hook ball at it, you've got the right side of the 2-pin to hit, but if you cross left of center of the 2-pin, you're in trouble. But he gets it with no problem.
Like I said before, a spare in the first frame is a spare in the first frame. It could be a gutter spare, 8 spare, 9 spare. You get the same count. So a good start for Nolan.
All right, Caden White, who won at the KCO in February and should be in the Prodigy TOC, but we weren't there to show it. So he's officially not in the field at the Prodigy TOC. But he is making an 11th hour bid to get in, and he starts strong with a solid strike. Swings that thing out to about 5 and 10 in the pit.
Yep, between the two-handed bowlers we've seen previously in the step ladder, he has a little less speed, probably a little less rev rate. That correlates. But he shapes the ball a lot more because of that.
Although mechanically, other than Caden taking a longer approach than Nolan, they're very similar in their mechanics. And he too light on the left lane. But for him, the 8 goes out, and he's just got the 2-pin.
Yeah, like you talked about earlier, that right lane looks like it might be a couple boards different than the left. That shot by Caden was a little left, but not too different. I thought that had a chance to get up, and it didn't, so we might see a move.
Covers the spare. Well, Nolan lives in Greenwood, Missouri, which is south of Lee Summit. And Caden lives in Lee Summit. These two are best buddies. They have bowled many, many games together. And Caden has seen that out of Nolan more than a couple of times.
Crazy pin action. He missed a little right on that. I didn't think it was going to get up, and it came screaming back. He threw every pin at the 10th pin. I don't know what got it out. 6 whipped it out, but that head pin was coming to get it if it did.
I think we know what his superpower is.
Once again, the action to our right on lanes 9 and 10 is Division 3, and we'll fill you in on how their stepladder plays out when we get to the end of the show today.
Still came in light, but got a little more of the head pin this time, and I think he may have caught it a little better at the bottom of the swing.
Yeah, that looked like he got a little bit more hand in that shot. Paralyzed the 5-pin. On the left lane, they're keeping it, or he's keeping it in front of him a little bit more. He didn't swing that one as far right. That one only got out to about 6 or 7. Still a light hit though. But if I'm him, I don't move, because you don't want to move right and then go high. If you have that light hit shot, you're going to stay where you're at.
Ooh. Speaking of going high, that's the 4th time today we've seen the 4-9 broken up. Caden avoids disaster, just the 9.
Yeah, Caden going high on that shot. Don't know if he moved off of the light shot from the left lane because of the difference there. Lucky break though, that shot was through the face.
Easy spare though. Caden credits as the person who got him started bowling Judy from Summit Lanes. So Judy, whoever you are, a shout out from Caden.
We thank you.
There you go. That's what he's looking for.
Beautiful shot on the left lane. Made the adjustment off the light 2-pin.
Here's Caden's footwork once again. Hopped a little bit at the foul line. The one disadvantage to taking a long approach and generating all that forward momentum is that if the approaches don't agree with you, you can stick. And I think that's what may have happened to him. Good shot, though.
Wow. Just wow. What do you say?
Good shot. That's what you say.
It was that. Watch the 6-pin. I think it's going to go in the gutter and just nudge up against the 10 and get it. But the messenger was coming just in case it was needed.
Yeah, no one's always got reinforcements coming.
He's usually got 2 or 3 extra pins flying every which way just in case he needs them. Boy, power to burn. And another light shaker.
Like I said, that left lane, he stayed in the same spot. Same result, light shaker on the left lane.
We'll see this again, and I mean, hide the women and children. He gave it a little body English, just in case that was necessary.
You gotta will that 7 out sometimes.
Hey, whatever it takes. Caden's not backing down.
He knows what he's up against with Nolan. Take another look at that strike.
And you can see how he's almost got the ball right under his head. And you see how his hand is more on the side of the ball than we see with Nolan and Rhett and some of the others? If he could get his hand a little more behind the ball, his elbow a little closer to his body, that ball would be under his head and it'd be a little closer to his ankle.
Yeah, I agree. Also, a lot of head tilt with Cade on the finishing of his shots.
Doesn't seem to hurt him there. Another strike, and now game on. 11 pins separating these two.
Yeah, Nolan set the tone early, and Caden has definitely responded. That was a big turkey for him there.
Blower. Boy, Nolan looks determined. There's a solid strike. Kicking out the 10.
Beautiful shot. Very smooth off of his hand. See in the replay. Posted the shot. Loved it. Hand up, threw the ball. 6 smacks that 10 out.
I notice when Nolan follows through, he's got his palm facing the sky. Gotta love that. That means the hand was behind the ball coming through the shot.
I was the same way with my pointer finger. When I felt it come off my pointer finger, I knew it was going to be a good shot. With him, it's coming off the palm of his hand.
Nolan's just in dead stroke. That's 6 strikes in 7 frames.
The best shot he's thrown all match.
Well, not only are these two best friends, but they've got very similar games. They start different distances from the foul line. Caden takes a longer approach than Nolan. Nolan generates more speed. But we'll freeze it at the top of their swing. They're in virtually the same position. And then as it sets in motion again, we'll freeze it at release. And there you can see that head tilt of Caden's you were talking about.
Yes, also we look at the momentum between the two. Nolan's a bigger guy, and we see him more of a planner on the left lane. And Caden uses more of his momentum to get the speed and the power, and he slides into his approach.
And that's great advice for smaller players. Use the length of the approach to generate forward momentum to help you generate more speed.
Exactly.
That time, the quitter 10 as the 6 pin just lays down in the channel and doesn't do its job. Half pocket, that 6 pin just dies in the gutter. Almost got the messenger, but
that one is blind. He missed.
Apparently, yeah. It happens. Caden, one of the best spare shooters bowling the KCO, covers the 10 pin, no problemo.
Yeah, with Nolan bowling the way he is, Caden's gonna probably need this next one, and then the rest of them.
Yeah, pretty much. And you never know with Nolan, that still might not be enough. Tell you what, though, Caden's not going to quit.
No, he's not. That's a good shot. That got off the spot a little faster than I thought it would. Maybe got it out a little early.
Crowded the head pin just a little, but not enough to cause a problem. All right, Nolan working on a 6-bagger. And that one, he just maybe overthrew it.
Yeah, he overthrew it, and it looks like he missed a bit left. He, on that right lane specifically, he had been kind of playing the shim a little bit, and that one, he didn't get out to the dry at all. And we see the bucket again for the 2nd time today.
Indeed. Here's how you make it. Put that ball right in the 2-5 pocket. Let the ball drive out the 8. The 2 will get the 4. I don't like him playing this from the right side of the lane, and that's why.
That's what you're afraid of, that chop right there. It's so easy to do.
You see most of the pros play the 2-4-5 or the 2-4-5-8 from the left side of the lane, and here's why. Watch this. Nolan will lay it down at about the 10th board, and he's going to play right up about 10. It's on 9 at the 43-foot mark. And now, here's what the ball sees from the 9 board. See the big gap between the 2 and the 5 pins? When you play it more down the center of the lane, that gap is a little smaller. You got a little less chance to chop the 2 off the 5. That's why the pros play it down the middle of the lane. Good bounce back strike for Nolan. Kicking out the 10. And that strike in the 9th frame was huge. If he hadn't struck there, Caden could have gotten up and shut him out. But by striking in the 9th,
now Nolan will have his fate in his own hands no matter what Caden does. But now Caden needs to take it off the sheet.
Little thin, 2-8.
Looked like a pretty good shot to me. He might have missed it at the bottom there. That ball, like I said, on the left lane was a little snappier off the spot, and that one was a little bit lazy and just didn't get up the hill.
Maybe a little extra adrenaline, maybe threw it a little harder.
That could be it, yeah.
Here's how you make the 2-8. Put the ball right on the face of the 2. If you're throwing a hook ball, you've got the right side of the 2 pin. He makes double sure of it, and the double wood goes down. But now, boy, he sure could have used that strike. The lead's still 16 for Nolan heading into the 10th. Nolan with a strike up. Caden's got a double to force Nolan to mark in the 10th.
We saw Caden throw a good shot on this left lane here. He's going to need 2 more of them.
Oh, they're still falling, but one won't go. And now he's in trouble.
Yeah, missed a little bit left to me on that shot. And again, it just didn't give it the time to get up the hill.
Covers the spare, so he can finish with 217. Nolan can pretty easily pass that number with his first ball in the 10th.
Just needs average count on the first shot in the 10th.
Saves his best shot for last. Honestly, he could have used a few more of those today, but 217 is a respectable showing. It's just going to come up a little short today at the KCO Invitational. Nolan Nash, 1 ball away from becoming our only 3-time winner on Prodigy Bowlers Tour this season. And if you're going to win one, Mike, you know as well as anyone, you want to win this one, the KCO Invitational. Nolan Nash has just done it.
Exactly. Big win for Nolan. Great bowling today. 2 great games in a row, and like you said, this is the match you want to win.
He knew it as soon as it came off his hand.
He started running it out. He just seemed like this was not going to be taken from him today. He was as determined as I've ever seen him.
He motions with his hands like whatever.
Yeah, save that ball for the 10th frame when you've already won the match.
So another 240 game to go with the 246 he bowled in the semifinal match. Hard to beat a guy when all he does is throw 240s at you.
Not much you can do, especially with an open there in the 8th. That's a heck of a game by Nolan. Great bowling.
And he accepts congratulations from Caden White. Nolan Nash takes the KCO Invitational. And Michael Anderson II, it has been great having you in the booth today. Prodigy Nation, this young man has just changed his major. He's going to go to KU this fall, and he's going to go into sports broadcasting.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get into the media world of sports, and I love to continue to do this.
Well, you did a fantastic job today on Prodigy, but it's Nolan Nash Day at the KCO. He's just won his 3rd title of the year on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, and we'll talk to him next.
Well, there you go. The Prodigy Bowlers Tour season covering Division I at the Kansas City Open ends with one player winning 3 times, and that player is Nolan Nash. Now, get a load of this. In his last 3 starts at the KCO, he won all 3 times. At the March Adult Youth Doubles Tournament, he shot 225 in his only game in the stepladder. Then at the April Points Tournament, He goes 259, 245 in his 2 matches to win the tournament from the 2 seed. He skipped May to bowl an out-of-town tournament, and then today he bowled 246 and 243 to win from the 2 spot again. In his last 5 matches on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, spanning 3 telecasts, he's averaged 243.6. So Nolan Nash finishes the Kansas City Open season as the only 3-time winner in Division I on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. He wins the season-long points race in Division I with 276 points over runner-up Colby Lovegren and Caden White, who finished 3rd. And Nolan finishes the 2022-23 season with the highest average of any player in the KCO field who bowled over 12 games, a cool little 225 average over 69 games. The next closest was Rhett Ryman with a 220 over 39 games, and PJ Douglas, who finished with 219. It's time to visit with our KCO Invitational champion and get him to do the honors once again.
Oh my, we have our first 3-time winner of the season on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's Nolan Nash. And if I'm calculating correctly, and now Adam Crouch pointed this out to me, you won the March Adult Youth Tournament.
Yep.
And then you won the HOA that same month. And then you won the April KCO. You didn't bowl in the May in St. Joe because you were bowling some high school tournament. And now you've won this one. So you've won like 4 tournaments in a row.
Yep.
I suppose there isn't a hotter youth bowler in Kansas or Missouri than this guy right now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you picked the good one to win, the KCO Invitational, the one major on their schedule.
Yep.
How did it happen?
I think a lot of praying and just being close with God. Blessings. That's really it.
Well, I think it had a little bit to do with the pins falling as well.
Yep. I definitely had a little bit of love going through the day, but made some good shots, right ball, and that just kind of helped me get through the day.
You had some supporters in the gallery.
I did. Had a bunch.
Yeah, I heard him. I heard a big yell go up. I wasn't actually watching this pair of lanes when you made that split. What was going through your head there?
Well, it was just kind of throw it hard, but not too hard, because I didn't want to chop it too far and where it had no room to come over, but I threw it just at the right speed. I didn't think it was going to fall. It just barely hit it and slid over. It fell over.
Well, that's pretty amazing.
Got lucky.
I wouldn't call that luck. I'd call that skill. And you are the only 3-time winner on Prodigy this year. And you get to put your name on the coveted trophy pin for a 3rd time. So sign it again. And you are already eligible for the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions on June 25th in this same bowling center. And who knows, you might be taking this pin home with you.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Awesome.
Well, congratulations again, Nolan Nash, the KCO champion in Division I. Way to go.
We told you that the players who were bowling on the pair to our right were the Division III group. And here's how their stepladder finals played out. In the opening match, the 5 seed, who you met at the Division IV Adult Youth Doubles Tournament in December, Jacob Thompson, met Colby Lovegren's younger sister, Avery. And Avery won that opener 169 to 153. Then she met the 3 seed, Olivia Deere, whose mom, Megan Deere, bowled on the Division V show at the March Adult Youth Doubles Tournament. Avery won that match 193 to 176. But then Avery ran into Peyton Tryon, the left-hander you saw last month on our Division III show from St. Joseph, Missouri. Peyton ended Avery's day 192 to 157. And in the championship match, Peyton bowled well, but the tournament leader, Emery Nestor, bowled just a little better eking out a narrow 195 to 193 victory to take top honors. So congratulations to Emery Nestor in Division III and Nolan Nash, who you saw win the Division I championship today. On our next episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you'll see these 5 kids compete for the KCO Invitational Championship in Division II. One of them will secure the final invitation into the 2023 Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. Remember, voting is now open for the PBAA Player of the Year, which will be decided by a vote of our select panel of judges and you. Cast your ballot now by typing the player's name for whom you wish to vote in the subject line of an email and send it to vote@ProdigyBowlersTour.com. Voting will stay open until Saturday, June 24th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Central Time. If you'd like to support the creative work that goes into producing Prodigy Bowlers Tour, become a Prodigy patron. For just $5 a month, you'll get early access to all our full-length episodes of the show, and for just $10 a month, you'll not only get early access, but you'll also get your name in the closing credits of each full-length episode as an executive producer. You know, to feed your inner Spielberg. Go to www.patreon.com/Prodigy Bowlers Tour and follow the prompts to become a Prodigy patron. To keep up with all things Prodigy, join our Facebook group. From any page on Facebook, type Prodigy Bowlers Tour into the search bar and hit enter. That'll take you to a page where you can submit a request to join the group. It's free, but you must answer the 3 screening questions so we won't think you're a spam bot. And remember to leave a thumbs up on this video and smash that subscribe button. And leave a comment in the comments section down below. Did you know that 3/4 of the people who watch these Prodigy videos never subscribe to the channel? Just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a dime, and it helps us grow the channel. Just do it. Just go ahead, click subscribe right now, because if you don't,
I will find you. What I have, a very particular set of skills I've acquired over a very long career.
All right, that's it for this edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Big thanks to Michael Anderson II for sitting in with me and sharing the play-by-play chores on today's show. Look for our next episode to drop on June 24th from Olathe, Kansas, and the final KCO telecast of the season. This is Coach Randy, hoping everything is fantastic in your corner of the world. I'll talk to you on the next edition of Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Now, go get your bowl on.